Okay, guys, so I'm going to have two videos for one weekend, back to back, but I'll make them two separate segments because I notice my videos are way too long and people really can't get through the content, and I don't blame them. So I wanted to talk about exercise evolution or training evolution, and how it's personally affected me and changed my physique. And this may be a subjective kind of observation, so I'm not saying that it's the right answer or it's the right philosophy, or really the wrong philosophy. It's just a philosophy that I've adopted, and it's something that I seem to believe has really worked for my physique and getting better year by year. And I was talking about in my last video how if you're not improving, then you're doing something wrong. So that being said, for years I was stagnant. I was my progress was stagnant. It wasn't evolving. I wasn't moving forward. I didn't know what was wrong. In fact, my diet wasn't in check, so there were a lot of variables, and I was getting fatter. But my training also wasn't really conducive to growing an overall physique, and especially stage physique. I don't think I really started thinking about this until I started bodybuilding competitively. And when you start bodybuilding competitively, it brings out a whole other element to this training, or the reason you're training, and a whole other element of how you train, because you're no longer thinking about just going in the gym and getting big and hammering a muscle group. You're thinking about how to strategically hammer that muscle group or those muscle groups, what's working best when hammering those muscle groups, how you're growing proportionately to the rest of your body, your overall shape. Is it where you're trending? Is it where you want to trend? If you were to project how you were growing, is what you're doing right now, the right way, or is it going to leave you? Is it going to leave you? Is it going to leave you at a point where you're going to have an overdeveloped body group? And that's happened to me. All the above has happened to me. So overdeveloped body group, my chest. So today, I was thinking, I was talking to my wife, and I wanted to go train. I wanted us to both go train chest with dumbbells, because I'm used to this dumbbell motion with chest, and I had been doing that for years. And as you guys can see, probably from this picture above, I don't know if you've seen it anywhere else zoomed in, my chest has striations everywhere. It's prominent. It sticks out. It has a split in the middle. It's a pretty evolved chest. The issue is that I had been doing this workout routine for years, and it had evolved. Should I say, from Ottawa U, when I started training when I was in university, I started with the hundreds, and then I moved to the 120s. I was doing 4 sets of 4, then 4 sets of 6, and then I went to Good Life, and they only had 120. Excuse me, Ottawa U had 125, so I didn't know what to do. So I started doing 10 sets of 10. Then I started doing 10 sets of 10 for all exercises. So it was at like 40 sets of 40 reps for chest, and my chest just started growing and getting freakier and denser, and it was just annihilating my chest with heavy weight. So yeah, there was evolution there, but overall evolution, overall progression, my training style just didn't fit. So I'd go into another show. I went into a show last year, the KOABD show in 2013, and I had this dense chest with the holes and the striations, and my chest was really great, but I still felt like my shoulders were a little bit flatter, and my traps weren't large enough. My back was missing in the lower back. My legs are, there's something to be said about how terrible my legs have been and how hard I've been working to get them up. And they're still, I'm not gonna, I call a spade. My legs are still really bad, and I'm working on that. They're getting better. All I can say is that day by day I see continual progression, and by the end of the season, when I get to provincials next year, I am anticipating full development and even balance, if not maybe a little bit off kilter, but still enough to really push me to the national level. So, anyways, still have my weaknesses. We're all going to have our weaknesses. The point is, you've got to change your workout routine to compensate for those weaknesses. So even my leg workouts evolved. I mean, before I saw Tony, I was doing a lot of machine work. One year was a complete write-off because I did nothing but leg work. And when I saw Tony and Scott, it was squats, squats with low weight. And then it was with Ian, it was more squats. But then it was squats and kind of like supersets with squats. Then it turned out to be almost circuit training near the end. And it was just complete leg annihilation. So even throughout a course of a year, or a course of 4 months, I think, when we really blitzed the legs, there was continual evolution to get my legs changing. And we really made some crazy progress in those 4 months. And that's from continual evolution. And now I've, adopted a different kind of style for the beginning, but I'm still integrating those squats as Tony and Ian would want me to, because without those, I think it really limits your growth, because that's a compound movement that would be beneficial. And I'm not saying ever take the compound movements. So keep it simple, stupid. If you have movements that work, bench, deadlift, squat, you can't take those out. I mean, keep those in. You have essential movements that you're always going to keep in. It's adding other movements and working around them. So now that I go to the Good Lives, I've added different back workouts. I've changed back workouts. I have various back workouts. I don't always do pull down. I'll do some deadlifts. This year I can't, of course, because of this. It's been a bitch, so we'll see what happens with that. But again, that might lead for evolution too, because now I'm doing more lower back machines where I'm really isolating the lower back, and I'm really starting to see, not only from last season, but the crispness in my lower back, the Christmas tree and the crispness. It's getting crisp, it's getting dense, so I think by next season I'm going to have, this season I could already see it. I think it's growing still. By provincials, I hope to have a really well-developed lower back. That's one of my weaknesses. Upper back rhomboids, which it's just, I've got a crazy taper. I'm not even worried about that. Anything from shoulder and above, just, you guys can see it. It's pretty much there. So I really need to focus on lower back core and getting those hamstrings and quads up. And even when I squat, you know what? It hurts my lower back. And my back thickness has changed ever since I started squatting. So there's exercises like, God forbid, you do a squat and your back hurts. So this is evolution of how you're training and how it's working your other muscles while you're training. And they say a squat is a compound movement. A deadlift's a compound movement because you're working your legs and your back. And your shoulders, of course, and your biceps and your triceps. You're working everything. These are compound movements. So the more you integrate everything, the more your overall shape is going to change. So that being said, keep evolving. I like going to different gyms because it doesn't put me in a pattern where I'm using the same machines over and over, which I did for years, and I didn't really evolve. When I joined Good Life, I keep telling people this. When I joined the Good Life gyms, I go to different Good Life gyms depending on where my meetings were, where I was that day, if I was closer to home, if I had time, if I had to meet the wife somewhere. And what happened is I had to evolve. I had to evolve, and I had to change my workout routine depending on the equipment. The equipment had it was always varied. There's no consistency in these Good Lives. There's always something different. The machines are never the same. So I had to use different machines, think of different workout routines, and I'm telling you, my body, my shape has changed to the point where this year I'm feeling very balanced. Like I said, the legs still need a lot of work, but overall I'm feeling much more symmetrical than ever, and that's the evolution of training, and that's what I wanted to touch on today. So never lock yourself into a pattern where you're doing the same thing over and over and over. Switch it up, guys. Switch it up every year, and think about what you're doing, and think about how you're feeling it the next day. Even if your muscles are sore, I mean, it's an indication that this is the muscle you're targeting. I forget who used to do that. It was a pro, but he was really the best at isolating the groups. And anyways, with time, you're going to know how your body responds to all this stuff and responds to your workouts, and it will really help you with the growth. All right, so kind of a big deal, 613 Bodybuilding. 2 videos today. I'll catch you guys next week. If not, maybe I'll have an interim video, but I won't compile it till the weekend anyways. I think I have a workout with Nick from Good Life, and we're going to be doing some shoulders and arms. So that's been in the works for like 2 weeks. We had to cancel the last one, and you guys know how 613 is, the bodybuilding channel. It's hard to just commit. Everybody has time commitments, and it's getting harder and harder to get these videos. And everybody's doing provincials. I thought it would be a peak time to get videos, but I think everybody's really intense into their training, and I really don't feel like bothering these guys because I know how it is. And provincials is a big contest. They all want to get to nationals. Don't blame them. Great guys in Ottawa. Don't want to interrupt their flow. So if somebody approaches me, I will have a video. If not, we're just going to let them chill, get to provincials, and maybe after provincials. All right, 613 bodybuilding, kind of a big deal. I'm out.